Hi everyone, and welcome to our first Map Mavin case study. This case study is fictitious, though it is actually based on a real project that I was involved in a couple months back, involving some nonprofit and humanitarian mapping initiatives in East Africa. So I'm going to show you just how you could actually use Map Maven in a particular example, this one being a malaria spray campaign that was done in Mozambique by the Peace Corps and some other partners. Again, this is fictitious. They did not use Map Maven at the time because it wasn't out yet, but they certainly could have, and that's actually why it came to mind in the first place for me, because I definitely could have used it when I was involved in the project. So, let's see, I've got my malaria spray campaign Mozambique map ready here. And to be clear, I am the administrator in the context of this map. I already went ahead and shared it with another account, and I'm now going to go to the actual map itself. All right. So a quick backstory for you. In Mozambique and in many countries in Africa and actually throughout the world, the Peace Corps is responsible for going around and examining huts or other dwellings and determining whether they are in need of a spray treatment for the prevention of malaria, and if they're qualified and eligible for that treatment based on the structure and other factors. Oftentimes, this is taking place in parts of the world where the map that you might be looking at doesn't actually reflect what the situation is on the ground in terms of infrastructure. A lot of these roads are dirt roads, and sometimes even more often than not, are not actually navigable after, especially after a flood season or whatnot. So we are going to go out here. And we're going to focus on this area right here. So we'll zoom in. And each of these little gray outlines represents a home or other structure. In this case, I've already looked at satellite imagery over here, and these are all homes. So the backstory is that a team of Peace Corps volunteers is on the ground, and they are traveling from hut to determine whether or not the house is in need and are qualified for the reception of a spray treatment designed to prevent the spread of malaria. While the volunteers are responsible for determining whether a house will receive the treatment, they're not actually the ones who are going to go in and provide or apply the spray themselves. In this case study, that responsibility lies with a US-based team who will be deployed once the Peace Corps volunteers have selected the houses to be treated. So that team is still in the US, and they need to plan around information that they receive from the Peace Corps on the ground in Mozambique. How do they do this? This is kind of your quintessential mapping issue, or mapping problem rather, in that you need to make sure that there's consistency between what's truly there in real life on the ground and what people are seeing on a map. And the beauty of Map Maven is you're able to look at the same screen and determine really the best plan of action. So first and foremost, we're going to start a screen share, and we are going to go to the Mozambique project group, and you'll see that my trusty fictitious user friend Paul Bunyan is already online. He, in this scenario, is going to act as the US-based pesticides team that will be coming to the village in a couple weeks' time. So we'll go ahead and again zoom in. Okay, so you'll notice there's many homes in this area, at least in terms of comparatively to other parts of central Mozambique, and not all of them are going to receive the treatment. Some of them, for example, may already have received it, so they're obviously not in need of it. and others, just for various factors, might not be ideal for receiving the treatment. Or perhaps they're a commercial building or something else that's not residential. In either case, I, acting as the chief volunteer for this Peace Corps team, want to let everyone at the pesticide team, represented by Paul, know exactly what we're up to. So I'll first just check in with Paul. This one. Is that? All right, so Paul is online, and that's good because that means he and his team are all huddled, presumably huddled around somewhere in the U.S., looking at the same screen that I'm seeing. So I'm going to give him and his team an idea of exactly what houses they're going to be working on. So as the Peace Corps volunteer, and I would be doing this from Mozambique in this scenario, I've already gone out on the ground and recorded which homes are going to need treatment. All right, so right off the bat, you'll notice that some of these homes are not on the road, or at least exactly on the road, and that presents an issue because in this scenario, we need our pesticide truck to be able to actually get out to them. But with this base map, which is actually one of the better base maps out there, even still, you're not able to really figure out just how you would go about getting to some of these structures. Luckily, I'm on the ground in central Mozambique, and I've already collected this information and determined the best route. But before I do that, I'm going to use our styler, and I'm going to go ahead and make these points much larger so that they fully encapsulate the homes. I'm going to change the style, give it a black, let's make that a little thicker, a black stroke around it. And then I want them to be transparent so that you can see which homes need to be worked on, but you can actually still see the outline of the home. And that's important because the pesticides team will need to know where each corner of the home is and whatnot for getting their truck there and for navigating around in general. So now I've made that transparent. We can even go a little more, actually. So the homes are clearly highlighted, and you can still see them through the transparent red that I've applied with the styler. Now I want to make sure that the team, when they arrive here, is able to actually know how to get around. And I happen to know, because I'm on the ground, that this road is actually wiped out from the recent flood season. So I need to make sure that they know the right way to go. And I can also do that with the redlining tool. We will draw a line here. Now, a common mistake just in general in mapping is to think that there's just nothing in this blank space, when in fact, in real life, this is pretty dense forest right here. And this is really the only way that you'd be able to get from this house, or from this house to this house, especially now that this road right here has a big rut in it from torrential rain. This is not particularly easy to see, so we'll go ahead and make it easier for Paul and his team. And now he has a better way of getting from that home to this one. And I'm just going to check in with him. So let's see if Paul and his team were able to see that. All right, what does Paul said? Looks like he wants to know whether or not you could actually drive a truck down this, and I will let him know that yes, you can. Perfect. So, as we've already pointed out, there's not just 1, 2, or 3, but 5 homes, and one of these homes is actually out on the fringes here. So even if you did have this map and it were up to date, you'd still not know how to get to this one. Same scenario. I actually know, based on my time on the ground, how to get there. So we will make sure that Paul is able to see that as well. And I know based on my time on the ground that that segment of the existing road actually is intact. But I do need to go around this patch of trees here to get out to dwelling 4. So now that I'm at dwelling 4, I have a route established through all of them that uses the least amount of time, and I have 1 home left. I'm actually going to suggest that he just take the same route back. So we will pick up from there and use the normal route to get to building 5. So that's only one of a host of examples of how someone could use Map Mavin collaboratively to determine the best possible way of executing a plan. And the great thing is, because it runs online, I really could be in Mozambique with limited internet, making a map, and with no software on my computer. And that really opens up a whole world of possibility, because all I need to do is get a laptop to 1 or 2 individuals in the Peace Corps team down there, and they're able to really make maps that would achieve the same goal that more expensive desktop software would normally be required to achieve. Likewise, I could actually even do this on an iPad or on a Chromebook, for example. So really anything with internet access and a big enough display to be able to navigate the map is going to work just fine. And I will thank him for his time. And there we go. So I hope that gave you a better idea of just how you might actually apply the value of Map Maven to a given collaborative scenario. And I look forward to showing you more of these case study examples down the road. Thanks.